Have you ever felt the ground shift beneath your feet so subtly that you barely notice, until everything you once took for granted comes crashing down? What if the cornerstone of a dynasty, the player you thought was etched in Golden State's lifeblood forever, suddenly stands at a crossroads so stark it could redefine the entire franchise's future? Imagine the echo of familiar sneakers pounding Chase Center's hardwood, now shadowed by uncertainty, as whispers swirl around a name synonymous with grit, defense, and fierce leadership. What if Draymond Green, the very architect of Warrior dominance, is quietly slipping toward a departure neither the Warriors nor Dub Nation saw coming? Welcome back, Warriors fans. You're locked into *** Warriors News Fan Report ***, your frontline source for every seismic shift rippling through the heart of Golden State basketball. Smash that like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and ring that bell so you never miss a second of this saga. Now, let's dive in. There's a deafening silence across the bay these days, but it's anything but quiet behind closed doors. The 2025 offseason is shaping up as one of the most pivotal, perplexing, and potentially painful in Warriors history. A name hangs heavy in the air, one that's been a symbol of the team's identity since those nearly mythical Splash Brothers days, where Draymond's defensive mastery and vocal presence transformed Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson into an unstoppable force. Yet now, whispers suggest the foundations might be cracking. Could this season mark the end of the Draymond era in Golden State? Is it possible that the franchise is preparing to part with its defensive anchor to open the door for a new generation, spearheaded by rising talents like Jonathan Kuminga and the promising yet raw Poole? Some insiders whisper there's growing tension behind the scenes, not just about leadership, but about salary cap realities. Green's $25 million plus annual contract, weighing heavily alongside the relentless ticking clock of age and diminishing explosiveness. To fans, Draymond isn't simply a player. He's the heartbeat of the team's soul, the fiery enforcer who turned defense into an art form and showcased a basketball IQ that the league's brightest minds envy. Remember 2017, when he brought home Defensive Player of the Year honors? That campaign wasn't just a trophy run, it was a declaration that the Warriors' success relied on more than splashy three-pointers. It was about disruption, creating chaos, and a relentless will to dominate every inch of the court. But the recent seasons haven't been without cracks. Recall the heated scuffle with Kevin Durant against the Clippers in 2018, a fracture in the once unbreakable Warriors brotherhood, or the simmering locker room tension punctuated by his clashes with younger teammates, especially a now blossoming Jordan Poole, whose own journey from raw talent to reliable scorer embodies the franchise's future ambitions. Social media lights up at the tidings. #KeepDraymond fuels impassioned debates, while others call out for a fresh start with young guns. Sometimes change is the only path to greatness, one popular Dub Nation analyst tweeted just last week. Meanwhile, Kevin Looney's $8 million contract and the looming salary cap crunch complicate things further. Trading Draymond could clear significant space to chase defensive rim protectors, or versatile scorers, possibly even bolder names rumored in hushed conversations across the league. Could Mike Dunleavy, the front office's new architect, be weighing a trade package that might bring in underrated but game-changing talent, like Trey Murphy III from New Orleans? Murphy's blend of shooting and defensive versatility would unlock new lineups, complementing Steph and Jimmy Butler's fierce competitiveness, without demanding the ball at all times. But such a move might also mean saying goodbye to foundational pieces like Brandon Pajimski, whose 11.7 points per game and versatility signal a bright future, leaving fans torn between loyalty and urgency. The challenge isn't merely about upgrading talent, it's about preserving the delicate chemistry forged in the crucible of recent playoff battles, where the Warriors battled valiantly but ultimately succumbed to the Timberwolves in the conference semifinals. And then there's the elephant, or perhaps the phantom in the room. Kevin Durant's name alone shifts atmospheres. Although the Warriors currently seem far from being favorites in the KD sweepstakes, his situation is vibrating through NBA front offices. Durant averaged a dominant 26.6 points at 50.7% shooting last season, still a lead despite limited games and no individual awards contention. Could a seismic trade shake the Warriors' core? It's a tantalizing what if, a thread that threatens to unravel strategic plans with one decisive domino. Yet insiders like Andrew Slater have openly scoffed at rumors tying Durant to Golden State right now, citing the franchise's focus on the current core: Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, and the emerging youth. But as every NBA fan knows, silence can be a curtain hiding the storm. The draft night looms less than 2 weeks away, and that's when everything might change. In this tempest of rumors, emergent opportunities, and complicated choices, the most profound question emerges: how much loyalty does the Warriors organization owe to a legend like Draymond Green? On one hand, he's irreplaceable, his court vision facilitating Curry's gravity-defying range, his energy igniting both the bench and the stands. On the other, his aggressive demeanor and high price tag perhaps choke the breath out of the luxury tax. Flexibility that Golden State desperately needs to remain competitive and craft a sustainable legacy beyond the splash era. Fans remember when Run TMC dazzled with flamboyant dynamic play, but eventually gave way to a more balanced approach. The Warriors' history reminds us that evolution can be painful, messy, even heartbreaking. What if we're watching history repeat itself in real time? What if parting ways with Draymond isn't a betrayal, but a necessary evolution to keep the dynasty breathing? But here's the kicker: no decision is simple. Retaining Draymond could mean clinging to the craftsmanship of the past, banking on enough seasons left in Steph and Klay to chase another title while nurturing Kuminga and Moody in supporting roles. Trading him might create cap room and tactical freedom, but also risks fracturing the team's DNA, the intangible chemistry that's harder to quantify than any stat line. Imagine the social media storm then, from fervent advocates screaming, #SaveOurWall, to the bold futurists rallying behind #NextGenWarriors. The debate consumes online forums, local bars, and even the quiet conversations in players' homes. And so, Warriors fans, here we stand at the precipice of potentially transformative change. What do you think about all of this? Should Golden State hold onto the indomitable Draymond Green, preserving not just a player, but an era and identity? Or is it time for the team to take a bold leap forward by handing the reins to rising stars, embracing uncertainty and betting on a new chapter? Personally, as a ride-or-die member of Dub Nation, I believe Draymond's leadership and tenacity remain priceless. Yet I can't ignore that the NBA waits for no one, and reinvention, though painful, might be exactly what the Warriors need to reclaim their throne in a rapidly evolving league. I can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments below. If you're feeling the pulse quicken, the fire ignite, and the stakes skyrocket from here, slam that like button, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and ring that notification bell harder than one of Steph's signature deep threes. That's right, because what's coming next isn't just news. It's a seismic riptide promising to shake the entire landscape of the Western Conference and rewrite the destiny of the Golden State Warriors. Picture this: Steph Curry, the league's greatest shooter alive, already rewriting the NBA's record books with a career three-point percentage north of 43% and averaging 29 points per game last season, while dishing out 6 assists, still firmly the engine of the Warriors' offense, but now tossed into a crucible of change so profound it could either catapult his legacy into untouchable stratospheres or unravel the support system that's made his brilliance possible. What happens to the Maestro superstar trajectory if the rumored seismic shakeup hits the Chase Center? Comparing the Splash Brothers architect with a new all-star, a fresh dynamo who's hungry to prove themselves on the big stage, drastically tilt the power balance of the Western Conference? Imagine a lineup featuring Steph's gravity-defying pull-up threes with a knockout defender and secondary scorer who commands attention, maybe someone like Bradley Beal, a shooter who can slash, or a two-way phenom like OG Anunoby, whose lockdown defense would relieve some of Draymond's incredible burden, especially against the ferocious offenses of Phoenix, Denver, and a hungry, dynamic LA Lakers squad prowling the title hunt. What chemistry could explode or, just as plausibly, implode inside Chase Center when the promising young trio of Brandon Pajimski, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody all start jostling for precious minutes behind that superstar backcourt? Feast on this: Pajimski, barely 22, is averaging a remarkable 11.7 points per game with shooting splits of 46% from the field and a cool 38% from deep, ranking him among the most efficient young wings in the league. Kuminga, with his freakish wingspan and electrifying athleticism, is beginning to flash game-changing plays on both ends, while Moody's steady improvement and two-way versatility have earned genuine respect from teammates and rivals alike. But the question that looms like a thundercloud: does the current roster have the right alchemy to fuse these talents into a championship-winning formula? Or is there a risk of overcrowding the wings and diluting roles, creating an unstable locker Room dynamic fueled by competitive droughts and frustrated talents aching to prove their worth? Let's throw this speculation into some historical and statistical context to bring it to life. Remember the We Believe Warriors of 2007? Scrappy, underdog team that stormed the playoffs with unrelenting energy, a stark contrast to the juggernaut dynasties that followed. That spirit lingered as the foundation of Golden State's evolution, culminating in 5 NBA championships over 8 years. A transformation marked not just by the thunderous splash of Curry's three-pointers. He launched over 4,700 threes in his career to date, sinking them at a rate that made defenders helpless, vertical corkscrews, but by the game-altering defense and playmaking of Draymond Green, whose 2023 defensive rating stood at a stingy 96.1, ranking him top 5 in the league while averaging nearly 8 assists and 20 points per game when he's on fire. Contrast this with the rival moves shaking up the West. Phoenix's relentless recruitment of young talent after trading away some veterans, Denver's aggressive pursuit of a future-minded overhaul post-Jokic prime, and LA's blockbuster signings eyeing to balance superstar firepower with gritty, lockdown defenders. Industry insiders from Wojciechow's have whispered about the Big Blues rumbling front office strategies, painting scenarios where the Warriors, to stay ahead, must adopt a hybrid approach, keep a kernel of experience, but lean heavily into youth and cap flexibility before the inevitable window begins to close. Even Andre Iguodala, a bridge between dynasty and new era, has been rumored to weigh in during quiet locker room conversations, nudging the young core to embrace responsibility. With a win now, grow faster mindset. Out on Telegraph Avenue, the barroom buzz can't be overstated. Every Curry three that rings out clean now echoes like a clarion call, a reminder of what's at stake. What was once a seemingly invincible comfort has become a crucible dripping with pressure, the kind only true championship contenders thrive or falter within. As this offseason hires itself as a pivotal inflection point, consider the maneuvering behind the scenes. Mike Dunleavy, the front office's new visionary, is gambling heavily on strategic precision. Trading Draymond Green, while heartbreakingly sacrificial to many, could open upwards of $30 million in salary cap space, freeing leverage to chase elite rim protectors like Jakob Poeltl, or entice sharpshooters with defensive chops from around the league. But what at the cost? The team's emotional architecture risks crumbling as you dismantle the cornerstone of communication and defensive identity, trading loyal grit for raw potential and unproven synergy. Meanwhile, Kevin Looney's veteran presence and modest contract provide bench stability, but insufficient replacement for what Draymond embodies on the court and in the locker room. Meanwhile, Jordan Poole's astonishing scoring outburst over 21 points per game with an improved assist rate shows the young guard's readiness to shoulder more pressure. But does the addition or subtraction of Draymond help Poole blossom or force a crowded backcourt to tangle defined rhythm? This is where the stakes rocket to another unknown. How does Steph Curry respond? We all know Curry's competitive DNA. We've seen him stare down impossible odds and come out with a grin at 50-point explosions in clutch moments. But does he rally behind a reinvented roster with fresh talent and less experience? Or does losing Draymond, his on-court general and emotional compass, chip away at the synergy that has let him dance into the record books, made all the more powerful by the more than 3,400 career threes he's nailed? An NBA record? The answers here will carve the narrative of Dub Nation's next chapter, and the fierce firepower this team can unleash against the rising super teams of Phoenix's Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, Denver's Nikola Jokic, and the tenacious LA Lakers' LeBron James and friends. Ballet of brutal championship intent. And lurking beneath all of this chaos, the shadow of Kevin Durant's name flickers incessantly in trade rumors, a flame that could ignite or vaporize the Warriors' plans. Durant, still delivering 26.6 points per game at 50.7% shooting last season, still commands the game with a lethal combination of size, skill, and ring-chasing hunger. What if, purely hypothetically, the Warriors broke the bank to lure him back? As tempting as that notion may be, BASKETBALL insiders like Andrew Slater cast cold water on these whispers, pointing to focus on progress with the current core. Yet, anyone who's breathed NBA atmosphere for more than a second knows silence often cloaks the brewing storm. The draft, looming just days away, offers no comfort. It is an arena of possibilities and heartbreaks where futures are forged or broken in moments as fleeting as Curry's lightning release pull-ups. Each decision wields ripple effects that could extend through the next decade of Golden State basketball. Loyalty, legacy, potential, cap strategy, chemistry. Warehouse of talent that all collide in one unrelenting question that now haunts every fan's heart and mind. Will this audacious gambit, this painstaking crossroad, where Golden State might bid farewell to a beloved warrior, in Draymond Green be remembered as the moment Chase Center roared back to glory, or the instant the dynasty quietly unraveled beneath the Bay Bridge's shadow? Personally, as a ride-or-die member of Dub Nation, I believe that while the spirit of Draymond Green's leadership and ferocity is woven into this franchise's DNA forever, the NBA's relentless clock spares no legend. Reinvention prickly, painful, sometimes devastating is precisely what the Warriors need to ignite a new era of champions. Embrace the young guns, open cap space, transform the playing style, and preserve Curry's magic with fresh weapons and sturdy defense. The walls may shake, but the foundation won't crumble as long as Dub Nation stays hungry, loud, and united. So, if you feel this electric charge, the mounting crescendo of destiny unfolding before our eyes, don't just watch, slam that like button. Drop your hottest takes in the comments below. And stay glued right here to Warriors News Fan Report to catch every splashy update, every insider whisper, and every heart-stopping, soul-rattling moment as it happens. Because Warrior Nation doesn't just follow history, we make it.